So morning, everybody. I'm joined by two of my favourite people, actually. So Paul Drabble, who's our go-to consultant in the food and drink sector, and also Gina, who's R&D specialist at Randall and Payne. And one of the things that I guess frustrates me slightly is that when we come across businesses that aren't claiming the R&D research and development tax credits that they're entitled to, and I know Paul and Gina have been doing a lot of work together in the food and drink sector around that specific problem and helping clients to make claims. And so, Paul, come to you first, if I may. What food and drink? I guess we don't think necessarily of food and drink as being an innovative sector, but you're working with lots of clients in the sector. What sort of things are you seeing?
Yeah, thanks, Will. I mean, working with Gina, we've got several clients now that we're working with in food and drink. And initially, those discussions have been awareness of R&D tax credits and eligibility, and these clients have been successful in securing support in claiming R&D tax credits. And the question is, once that money has been secured, how do you use it? And a few clients have been using it to cover overheads in the current climate to help cash flow. But I think the important thing is using that money to invest in growth. And in food and drink, there have been lots of areas you can invest in growth, new product development, new channel entry, particularly digital, and also digital skills and capability. So there are key areas that food and drink businesses can invest in for future growth. And the great thing about R&D tax credits, in the future, you can make further claims if you're eligible.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. So again, Gina, you obviously are making lots of claims for clients in the sector. What sort of activities are you seeing clients are doing that we're able to claim the R&D for?
So at the moment, I think one of the most common ones is in terms of the actual removal of ingredients from their recipes, where the likes of gluten-free and vegan alternatives are becoming more and more popular or needed. And it's not as simple as just removing that ingredient and you're away. You've got to tweak everything to do with the whole recipe. And that's just one example. So you've got other aspects where they might be trying to improve the taste after they've tried to remove that ingredient, or the texture of it, especially where gluten's involved. They might be trying to reduce the costs of their production, or reduce their wastage associated with it. Quality improvement, and also in terms of scaling up their production. A lot of the time they'll try and actually develop a product in a test kitchen, which is on a small batch, but it's not just as simple as doubling up the quantities because of the different strengths of ingredients. So they're having to then work on the recipe to scale that up to make it commercially viable.
So it's interesting that those things all sound like things that manufacturers might be doing just on a day-to-day, almost part of the day job. Do you think, might be one of the reasons why these things get missed when it comes to R&D?
Yeah, sorry. I was going to just add in there from again, experience, the clients that work. It is about raising awareness of eligibility of R&D tax credits. And yes, many of these things, innovation and new product development is a day-to-day part of the job. It does tend to get overlooked and not thought through until we actually, hey, hang on a minute, there's possibly eligibility here. So I think it is raising that awareness. And you're right, Will, it is on a day-to-day basis, and it does seem to get overlooked.
So if we come back to, so we make a claim, Gina, how does it actually work? What's the benefits to the company of actually following through the process of making a claim?
So it depends on their situation of whether they're paying corporation tax or not. So if they're profitable, it will either reduce their corporation tax bill, either down to nil or then into losses. So they'll get a cash back in that respect. If they're loss making, which is quite common with startups or with food and drink businesses, because they're plowing so much money into their new product development, they can then actually convert those losses into cash, which at the moment can be the difference between them surviving or not. A lot of the time, what will happen is they've got losses at the outset because of the development, and then they don't have the funds to actually push it to market. So converting those losses into that cash can actually help them then market it and get them on the shelves.
That sounds fantastic. So a nice bit of cash back from the tax man's never a bad thing. $6 million question then, Gina. How much does all this cost for a client?
So our fee basis is 20% of the benefit. So whether that's the corporation tax reduction or the tax credit that they end up with, which is at 14.5%. or combination of the two. The best part of it is that the first 2-year claim is contingent. So if for any reason it wasn't successful, we wouldn't raise a fee for them. So it's totally risk-free in that first 2-year period for them.
It sounds like almost too good to be true. Risk-free money, but back from the government. That's something everybody should be doing. So just to finish up then, Paul, I just again, what's your in terms of your experience of this? Clients under pressure at the moment with the pandemic and everything else. It sounds like this is a really good opportunity to access some cash or some support from the government.
Absolutely. I think the first thing is to check your eligibility if you can claim. And in the current environment, that claim can be a lifeline in meeting current cash flow requirements. But please think ahead in terms of the future, and innovation is key, and investing part of that claim into areas of growth and innovation in product development, new channel entry, digital are just examples there in that investing for growth. And particularly as a lot of the government schemes now are winding down, businesses are going to be in that difficult period of finding new cash resources, and R&D tax credits can be one of those that can alleviate that situation.
Brilliant. Thank you both. That's a quick summary then of R&D and the available help that's available from the government to support businesses that are innovating. Thank you both.
Thanks, Will.